Pre-Thanksgiving tournament basketball here in the Garden State as Caldwell and Norfolk State battle for a win next on ESPN. A very happy holiday to you and yours. With Eddie Acapinti, I'm Matt Harmon. This one part of the Fort Myers Tip-Off Classic here in the Garden State. Eddie, an interesting game. You've got Division II Caldwell taking on a Norfolk State team that comes in 3-3 overall.
And Matt, a Spartan team that really figures into the MEAC race in a lot of seasons. Their aspirations are for the NCAA tournament. Right now, they're really along with everyone else in the country, just trying to figure out who they are through the non-conference as you get ready for conference play right around New Year's.
And for this Caldwell team, they're used to maybe playing up a little bit. Might benefit them going into this game as we take a look at our impact players. A very talented guard leads the way for the Cougars. That's Anthony Cooper.
Well, like you said, they're used to playing up. They fell to St. Peter's last time up. Cooper struggled in that game. He's averaging about 15 points per game on the season, but just 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting last time out. If the Cougars are going to spring the upset, it's going to be Anthony Cooper's offense that leads the way.
You want to talk about leading scorers? Let's go from one to the next. We focus in here on Jermaine Bishop.
And the transfer from St. Louis has been really good, and the Queens native coming back to the Northeast gets 16 points a game. 45% from beyond the arc, one of the best shooters in the country, 88% from the line. He's been good. This is a very strong Spartans backcourt that we'll be keeping an eye on tonight.
Caldwell head coach Mark Carino in his 32nd season, the 1979 graduate of Keene University, looking for the Cougars to get win number 3 on the season. 2-4 so far to open up this year. On the flip side for this Norfolk State team, it is Robert Jones here in his 7th season. Again, a team out of the MEAC, 3 up, 3 down so far this season. It will be Norfolk State as kind of a neutral site game. They will be the designated home team tonight. They are in the yellow uniforms. Caldwell, as the visitor, is in the all-red.
Robert Jones has had so much success with Norfolk State. Double-figure conference wins every year on the sideline. He has been a model of consistency for this group. Remember a few years ago they were the darlings of the NCAA tournament, but what he has now is a pretty solid basketball team that is, again, like we said in the open, still just kind of finding itself.
Off the inbound, Caldwell will get first touch. Cougar offense, as we talked about, going through Anthony Cooper, team's leading scorer. Struggled a little bit last time. He is complemented by Rude Lutterman, who we will see at some point off the bench tonight.
It's a great move down low by A.J. Kittles. When you have a game like this, Matt, where you have a Division II team playing up, the thing I always look at is the size differential. But Kittles is going to have to play a big role in this game, and he's able to finish in traffic. That's going to be huge because they are outsized to Norfolk State.
Kittles, the 6'5", 210-pound senior from Glassboro, New Jersey. This roster for Mark Carino, dominated by players out of the Garden State. You see the player we talked about in our opener, Jermaine Bishop. The size, a big factor. Chris Ford, a good interior presence at 6'8". Shot blocked at the rim. It's Kittles getting involved again. One good offensive play, and he responds with a good defensive play.
That's how you start a lot of games, and Kittles getting that three-point play. And then here being a rim protector. Can't do it better than that. Went straight up, kept his spacing, didn't come down.
Inside play by Ford, who's got the first 2 for Norfolk.
You see just the size, 6'8", 220-pound sophomore brings to the table.
On the drive for Eric Johnson offered. Kick out 3 is offline. Pickpocket by Covington. He'll go the other way and lay it in softly with the right hand.
A good start to this one for the Cougars. Norfolk State takes really good care of the basketball, Matt. They've got a positive assist-to-turnover ratio on the season, but so far, been a little sloppy with it.
Spartans have lost their last 2 with defeats against Bradley and Northwestern.
Yeah, but competitive in those games. It's been the offense that, when you look at their numbers, kind of pop off the screen, averaging 80 points a game. But in those last 2, only scoring 58.
Caldwell basketball. Off the turnover. Cougars to bring it up. Got a loose ball foul inside on Caldwell.
Yeah, scoring 80 a game is the Spartans, but like we mentioned, these last two, they've struggled. But, Matt, here's the thing that I've noticed. They're in those games. You know, you're talking about a 12-point loss at Bradley. You're talking about an 11-point loss at Northwestern. So you're building towards something, and I like that. It's just about executing on offense. Look at the cut and finish. Great find, and the nice body movement down low by Bryant.
Joe Bryant Jr., the 6'1", 215-pound guard from Norfolk, Virginia. Staying at his hometown school, he said, Eddie, good body control. He absorbs it well. Strong finish at the rim.
Yeah, that's a foul that Cooper can't commit because he's going to have to play. It may be all 40 minutes in this game, but you can just see the strength of Bryant. Listed 6'1", 215, able to finish and able to convert.
Full court pressure by the Spartans. Cougars able to break it pretty easy. Missed layup by Ogomesum. Last touch by the Spartans out of play. 5-5, a mere 2+ minutes in. This game part of a doubleheader. Second game of the night. The normal home team on this floor, Monmouth, will be playing host to Radford.
It should be a good one. Those are two teams, and we'll obviously talk about it a little bit later on here, but those are two teams that you go back about 5 years to now, they've enjoyed a lot of success in their respective leagues, the MAC and the Big South, but right now I think they're both in the process of finding themselves within those conferences.
Quick check of something over at the scorer's table. I'm not sure if a foul was put up incorrectly, but they'll go back and take a look at it.
Yeah, the conversation over there is going to be exactly who the foul was on. There was a discrepancy between the call on the floor and in the book.
It'll be Eric Johnson offered who winds up with the foul. His first, team's third.
Let's see it again. It was a good take, and you see the last minute Bryant jump in, and I kind of agree with Johnson Alford. I thought that was a tough one.
Bishop to bring it up court. Sidibe at the top. Step back from Whitley is good. Smooth stroke from Stephen Whitley.
Well, just a 30% three-point shooter, but not with that stroke. The redshirt senior transfer from Robert Morris looking extra smooth on that play.
Alley-oop attempt a little offline for Johnson Alford. Sidibe starting things between the circles. Nice crossover running in the lane by Bryant, who can't get the finish to go.
With the exception of the Whitley three, everything's been towards the rim for Norfolk State. And you can see it's a point of emphasis in this game for them to get into the paint and try to convert.
Might speak to your point of just the overall size and physical presence that Norfolk has over Caldwell.
Yeah, and anytime it's a D1 playing against a D2, that's typically what you see. But don't count out the Cougars, obviously, with their guard play and their ability to create turnovers.
Sidibe offline with that outside jumper, maybe forced a little bit. The two wins on the season so far for Caldwell, Southern Connecticut State and St. Michael's. That's a foul down inside that will get it to our first media timeout. Norfolk State, the 7-5 advantage on Caldwell. We're back with more first half action. Early going here from West Long Branch, New Jersey, part of the Fort Myers tip-off invitational. Little round robin setup. Second game will be Radford taking on Monmouth. They'll reverse things a little bit tomorrow. Although I would say, as nice as it was today, being in Fort Myers for the actual Fort Myers tournament does sound pretty appealing over the holiday.
Yeah, how do we catch the short end of the stick? Don't get me wrong, we love this area, we love New Jersey, but I wouldn't mind spending some time in West Florida. I was down in Southeast Florida earlier this week. I could have stayed, could have flown you down. It would have worked.
Would have been just okay with me.
Would you have been allowed to get away for Thanksgiving?
Sure.
That would have been cool?
Yeah, no problem. Get a little cardboard cutout of myself, stick it at the table. Probably nobody would notice.
Like
2
a
o'clock,
napkin
I'm
tied
asleep
around,
anyway.
napkin tied around your neck.
The drive from Caldwell from Covington is missed. And a foul in the process on the putback attempt by Johnson Alford. He'll go to the line for 2 shots.
I really like the activity the senior from Clifton, New Jersey has shown early on. Johnson Alford he's 6'6", 210. He's slender though, and he's right now having to do a lot of the dirty work down low, but he's got good bounce. He's really active on the offensive glass. And we do a lot of games in this building for Monmouth and for the MAC. Johnson Alford could easily fit into that league with his athleticism.
Limited opportunities from the line going into today. 5 of 11 in the season. Made the first one. And we'll get the second coming here. Tipped out. Last touch by Caldwell.
There's so many games early on in the season are like this. You know, they're on neutral sites. They're in gyms that neither team calls home, and it really is important to bring the energy yourself in situations like that.
3 coming off the bench. Devontae Carter, the 6'3" junior from Newport News, able to connect right away. Gives Norfolk a 4-point advantage. That is their biggest so far tonight. Foul on Carter. Down on the deck, loose ball. Caldwell had it for a second, and a 5-on-none developing for the Spartans, finished off by Bishop.
That was a great bounce pass, leading Bishop. Carter, since coming in, has made a great impact, knocking the 3 down, and that time getting the well-timed assist. Ran that about as well as he could.
Little more than 5 minutes in to the opening half. Game 1 of 2 tonight. Johnson Alford off target. Opportunity for O'Gessman inside.
See how well Norfolk spaces the floor.
Long 3 offline from Whitley. Able to get a loose ball back. Drive and take it to the rim. And like so many of your shots, Eddie, stuck in no man's land.
I was going to say, that shot doesn't bode well for the rest of the 34 minutes and 7 seconds here. That's hard to do at that angle. Whitley with the nice play, he'll get a breather here. Staying active, just because you missed the shot doesn't mean you can't get back in it defensively, and he did that. But then he just floated it. It's probably harder to do what he did than to actually make the shot.
This is Bishop on the drive. Carter hanging, no good. Finally cleared by Caldwell.
I haven't said Cooper's name a whole lot. He hasn't been terribly aggressive here in the first, and Coach Carino's going to want him to be.
Oh, the dreaded foul on a three-point shot, which will drive coaches crazy. It'll go against Joe Bryant, and heading to the line is Covington.
Yeah, and Bryant wasn't the biggest fan of this. Let's see. He did go into Covington, so anytime the body is going towards the shooter, the offensive player is going to get the benefit of the doubt. Covington, excellent from the free throw line, 82% so far this season. Right on cue. I apologize, Vaughn.
The old announcer's jinx never fails.
It's amazing how it really doesn't.
Keontae Chavez has come in for Norfolk. Where's number 55, 6'4", redshirt junior guard. His first action tonight. Manly Dorme has come in, number 34, in red for the Cougars. We've got a moving screen call here. Caldwell will get the basketball back. Eddie, you spoke of it earlier, a Caldwell team which is used to playing up. Their last game a couple of nights back on Sunday as an exhibition game, 88-67 loss to St. Peter's.
They made a good account of themselves in that game, though. The second half, Caldwell was only outscored by 5, 42-37. And they got output in that game from players they haven't really relied on all season. Dorme had a nice 14-point performance.
Made basket there by the Cougars. Ogamessum able to knock it in. His first points of the night. The 6'3" guard from West Hampton, New Jersey. Carter thinking about it, pulling back. Cougars hanging in so far through the first 7 and change, only down by a deuce. Somebody should be open. Driving through, active hands by Bishop. Will start at the other direction.
Yeah, and Cooper had a choice of targets, and he made the worst decision of it.
Chavez is 3, offline. Deflected and out, last touched by Norfolk. Caldwell basketball coming in, Marcellus Ross, the freshman out of St. Joseph's High School.
And Cooper exits, hasn't taken a shot yet. And the fact that he hasn't shot the ball and it's only a 2-point game, a great sign for Caldwell.
Missed shot down inside. And it's Caldwell back the other direction.
Good hands.
Deflected. Up court. Chavez will lay it in softly.
You know, that previous time down the floor, Calularius really has to, Matt, go towards the basket. Can't fade away when you have that kind of height advantage. That's got to be a couple of dribbles, go right towards the rim.
6'10" junior from Greece, went to Hillsborough Community College. Timeout coming for us with 11:09 remaining in this first half. Back here from West Long Branch, New Jersey with Eddie Acapinti, I'm Matt Harmon. There's the resume of longtime head coach Mark Carino. Crazy to think, 32nd year at Caldwell, getting close to that 600 win mark. You see there, also serves Eddie as the athletic director for the university.
As if he wasn't busy enough. I'm sure he has quite the full schedule as Robert Jones is in year number 7 at Norfolk State, the MEAC Coach of the Year last season. Impressive that he has his team in and around postseason play every single year. The MEAC, Matt, for years, so much parity in that conference, and then whoever comes out of it always has a chance to make a run in the NCAA tournament. And Robert Jones has had this Norfolk State team playing very consistently in his time there.
22-14 a season ago, went 14-2 in league. Free throw made by Covington. Second one good as well. Biggest problem for the Spartans last year is that as the top seed in the MEAC tournament, they were beaten in the quarterfinals, and a resume not strong enough to be considered other than just winning your league. Driving and tripped up was Kashawn Hicks. Team that did go to the NIT last year as winning the regular season. Made the second round. Bishop up top. You can see for this Norfolk team, so many offensive touches go through Bishop. Inside, that one offline by Hicks. Ross to set it up around the perimeter. Winds up Ogumesum. Step back jumper by Johnson Alford offline. Chavez deflected. Been impressed so far with Caldwell's defense. They have not made life easy for Norfolk at all.
Well, not only that, Matt, they are holding their own on the glass. They actually have a 1 rebound advantage, 11-10, and that's something we looked at right in the beginning, was how the size of this game would be an issue.
Nice three on line for Kashawn Hicks. Transfer from Central Connecticut State. Grew up in Harlem.
We've referenced a few of the transfers on the Norfolk State team that are making an impact.
Nice move down low for Dorme through a Spartan double team.
Matt, also kind of surprising. Norfolk State's done the majority of their damage outside. And it's been Caldwell that's not afraid to go to the rim through at least the first half of our opening 20. Good hands.
Active, picked up by Ross. Ross left down the lane right side. He can't get the finish. Good backside rebound by Johnson Alford, who will go to the line for two. You know, thinking not even close that you or I are Division II experts or the league in the CACC that Caldwell plays in, but they might be, when you think of it, they might be a more physical inside team, so you'd almost think going into this game tonight, you don't want to get away from what it is you normally do.
Well, you want to be who you are. You make a great point that, especially a game like this, you don't want to put anything on film that is not going to be who you are. And so far, the thing that really jumps off the screen is athleticism-wise. Caldwell is kind of matching Norfolk State, where, if you just walked into the game right now off the street and weren't sure what's going on, you would just assume it's just another game. These two teams, we've been evenly matched first 11 and change.
Hicks down low, missed layup, put back attempt, kicking around for Caligarius, and that is offline, but he is fouled and will go to the stripe for two.
Yeah, the good thing is that he stayed with it. He got his offensive rebound, and he kept going at it. The bad thing is your big man's got to finish. And he had 2 cracks at it down low, and by far is the biggest guy on the court. That's where you want to see him catch, gather, and make a strong move to the rim.
Missed free throw by the big fella from Greece. He did have to sit out the first 5 games. So this is only his second appearance of the season. Played 10 minutes last time out. Getting extended minutes here with 8.5 to go in our first half. Nice backdoor cut, but Gourmet, wild shot, kept alive by Cooper. That's one that Cooper would normally make and probably wishes he had. Wide open look from the top of the key.
But again, I think the same point we made earlier holds true now. It's a 2-point game, and Cooper has only taken the 1 shot. You know, and there's a couple guys on Caldwell's team that score in double figures. Obviously, Cooper, gets the majority of the attention, but Lutterman does as well, and Johnson Alford's right outside of that. So they're getting contributions from other guys here in this game.
Foul on Johnson Alford. 6th team foul. Hicks curling around the screen, left it short. Johnson Alford had it blocked by Chavez. We'll take a timeout. We are at the under 8. Norfolk State being given all they can handle by Caldwell. $7:49 remaining here in this opening half. But don't see too many Division II teams roll through the Ocean First Bank Center, Eddie. But we know that this is perennial one of the better teams in the CACC.
Yeah, you look at the other teams that they compete with. You could see last year they made it to the quarterfinals of their conference tournament. You look right now, Dominican is 6-0 in the North Division. That's where Caldwell plays, and then Jefferson 4-1 in the Southern Division. But we saw earlier Coach Carino over 500 career wins, also the athletic director there. A lot of good basketball is played in the Garden State, Matt, whether it's Division I, 2, or 3. And you could see that, what are we, just over 12 minutes into this first half here, it's a one-possession game between a team that's pretty good out of the MEAC and the Caldwell Cougars.
On the line for a couple, Devontae Carter, who makes both. Full court pressure here by the Spartans. Caldwell able to break it. Cooper right now off on the right wing, Eddie, despite the fact that they are only down by 4 with their leading scorer not involved. At some point, they need to get him going.
Well, and you want your best player, Matt, to get shots throughout the course of the game and in the flow of play. But if it doesn't happen, you got to get him touches. And right now, they're kind of letting it happen within the flow of the offense. But as we've seen, Cooper's not a selfish player. There was a drive to the rim. He went diagonal right into the paint, and he was still looking to pass. So he's an unselfish guy, and you like that. But when you're as good a shooter as he is, as a coach, you want to see him take those shots.
Spinning around Whitley, and an offensive foul is called. We've seen a couple of those tonight on the Spartans.
Well, that's a point of emphasis that officials all over the country are keeping an extra close eye on. And when you have that action where you dribble at and then hand off, you have to almost like old school establishing yourself. You've got to stop and then hand off. If it's done quick like that and you run off shoulders, the call's going to go against you.
Johnson Alford, the elbow jumper, the old-fashioned elbow jumper.
And he's got a nice high-arcing look, but watch his right hand when he shoots, man. He doesn't snap the wrist. It kind of just floats up towards the basket, but he got it high enough there, make it a 2-point game.
Curling around is Bishop down the lane. Nice find to the baseline and finished by Whitley.
That's great action right there. Bishop dribble at, go back door. Whitley, the nice two-hand bounce pass. You don't see that anymore. Old school couple of minutes here with an elbow jumper and the backdoor cut.
4-point advantage for the Spartans. Coming up on 6 remaining in the half. Ogamesim offline. Kept alive down low by Dorme. He had it stripped. Spartans running, and a kicked ball by Cooper.
Well, that's a good job by Cooper because it was 2-on-1, and he was backpedaling as fast as he could, and they just kind of teach you if you're not going to commit the foul, prevent the basket, you got to prevent the pass. Knowing that you maybe if you're Whitley, you take 1 or 2 extra dribbles, try to get Cooper out of position.
Bishop looking to clear space. Played well by Gabe Johnson. And we've got another offensive foul on Norfolk State.
Now, we've mentioned it a few times. Officials are keeping an eye on that play. And knowing that, it does change maybe how you attack on the offensive end. And the other thing with that, the guard has to wait. Yeah, the big man maybe they're a little early, but as the guard and the one with the ball, you need to be aware of when to go. And if you see your guy out of position, then you got to wait for him.
I feel like, too, with a call like that, whether it's done purposely or even at a subconscious level, once you call it one time, it's almost as if you're looking for it a little bit more.
Well, and as a player, then you have to adjust and know that it could be coming.
Ogamesim, long triple. That's tapped out and last touched by Norfolk State.
Holding their own on the glass. It's a 4-point game. And I think we could make the point, you know, this is just another game, but this means something to Caldwell. This is a chance for them to show they belong on this stage. And so far through 15 minutes, they are doing that quite well.
Cooper missed the 3. Foul down inside. Tyrese Jenkins, who had just come in, gets whistled for a loose ball foul. Dorme to the free throw line on the season, about 68%. .513 remaining off the free throw by Dorme. He will check out. Rud Lutterman, who we mentioned earlier, the team's second leading scorer at 14.3 points per game coming in. Native of the Netherlands, he's a 6'7" senior.
He shoots 57% from the floor. And Caldwell's doing all this without getting really anything from their top 2 scorers in Cooper and Lutterman.
Lutterman, who averages about 26 minutes per game. Interesting that we see him for the first time here with just under 5. Johnson offered that high arcing shot. That time, no good.
And that's not the shot Caldwell wants that early in the possession. Norfolk State will sign for contested 2s.
Here's Ford down low. Chris Ford back in. Rolling around with Lutterman, and we will have a foul.
And it's a frustration foul by Ford, and wanted the layup, wasn't able to get it, and then in chasing after the rebound, it takes Lutterman down. So Lutterman was on the bench for quite a while. Now he gets right into the game and has a chance to get to the free throw line, and that's a nice way. You can see he's got that right shoulder heavily bandaged as well, but it's a nice way for him to get into the game, get an early touch. Obviously, it's his non-shooting shoulder.
Makes the first free throw. Good at the line so far this season, about 79%.
Caldwell just hanging around, being competitive. They're actually out rebounding Norfolk right now. Neither team burning it up, but the Cougars doing a nice job from the line.
1 of 2. There you go. You are 2 for 2 in that department today.
I'm not going to be welcomed in North Jersey.
1 point advantage for the Spartans, who have possession here with 4:15 remaining in the first. Travel. Boy, offensively, with offensive fouls, turnovers, and that latest variety of the travel. Offensively, it's been a little bit of a struggle here for Robert Jones' team. Quick trigger by Covington. Second time down the court that we've seen two very fast shots. Probably not what Mark Carino wants to see. Up and under, but the travel will take it first. 22-21, Norfolk State. Norfolk State out of the MEAC last year. We mentioned regular season champs. They got beat in that tournament, unable to make it back into the NCAA. But, Eddie, what's been a theme under Robert Jones, postseason last year to the NIT.
Well, last year to the NIT, a couple of CIT appearances as well, and you know they want to make it again to the NCAA tournament. Remember a couple years ago they made it with Kyle O'Quinn and a great core of players, and they've got another run in them, and they're expected to again be competitive in the MEAC. They average 80 points a game, but so far they have been stifled by what Caldwell has been able to do to them defensively.
Quick flip, the toss up to the rim by Letterman. He is fouled and will go to the free throw line for two shots.
Well, see the good ball movement. That's a tough catch for Letterman where he caught it on the floor, but you saw he was composed. And you don't want to foul in that scenario. The guy, the offensive player who caught the ball in Letterman's already under the basket, so all you need to do is wall up and use the baseline as your friend.
Letterman again, 1 of 2 from the line.
A tie game, though, with 3:40 to go.
First half action here. Second game set to tip right around 7:30. Monmouth and Radford in the nightcap. Down low, good move by Hicks, absorbing the contact.
Yeah, and I get that Ogameson was trying to play just sound defense, but that's a scenario where you're there in time, you hold your ground, you take the charge. And I get that he didn't want to do that, and he just went straight up with it, but that was kind of played out perfectly for him to do that. Good execution from the Spartans.
Skipping the setup for Covington. Johnson Alford. Ogameson. 9 on the shot clock. 3 remaining in the half. 4. Johnson Alford tried that last pass down low to Letterman. Probably better off serve just putting it to the rim.
Yeah, and you like the thought, but just not enough time, obviously. And it was really good help defense on the backside of things from Norfolk State. They didn't allow the cutter to flash open. That was maybe their best defensive possession here this evening.
Going to be a block inside. I would have to think inside the circle.
Well, this time it is Ogameson who does try to draw the charge, and he's having the conversation now with Mike Kitts, wondering what he did wrong. To be honest, it looked like he was out of the circle, but the way that it happened, I don't know if he was entirely set on the foul.
25-22, Norfolk State with the 3-point advantage. Second one also good. Off the turnover, we're talking about it is sometimes difficult to figure out where are you inside that restricted line. We'll see if we can get back to it in a second or two. but are you set? Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you not where you're supposed to be? It's so much more than just are your feet set anymore.
Well, yeah, because you're not going to, you're not sprinting looking down. So you've got to have good spatial awareness and understand where you are on the court, where you are in relation to the player you're guarding. There's a lot that takes it into account. And then you have to also get there in enough time to be set. And here, Matt, it's for the third time, the illegal screen. And that's what Robert Jones is saying to his guys. He goes, guys, it's the third time that call has gone against us.
It was definitely, that was the foul from a couple of plays ago. Definitely moving, was outside of the circle.
Now, to do that the right way, you sprint to that spot, and you got to lock your heels in. Then you've got a chance to have the call go your way. But the previous foul also, Coach Jones looked right at Carter and said, we've done that. Like, we need to be aware and need to be more patient when doing that. Yep.
Letterman, the offensive foul.
Now that was a good example of how that's done. On the rotation, on the back end, good anticipation of that pass, and you'll see it come from the opposite block. Right now, and once you get a little also extension of the arm, just a little bit by Letterman. It was just enough, and a nice job by Bryant being in position, selling it as much as he needed to get the call.
Nice backdoor find as Joe Bryant able to make it a 6-point lead.
Yeah, and that is the run that Norfolk State's currently on.
Answered back by Caldwell. I will say this for Caldwell, they have done a great job just kind of hanging around.
They have. It's been this most recent 6-0 run that's given Norfolk the lead. They have gone cold on the offensive end, however. Caldwell's missed 7 shots in a row, but their defense is what's kept them in this game.
Down to 3 on the shot clock. Jenkins just got it off. Unable to graze the rim, and it will be Caldwell basketball. I think an important 51 seconds here for the Cougars, because you've done enough to kind of say, all right, we can make this a game in the second half, but can you finish off with a basket or two?
Well, and here's the biggest thing for them right now. They have a chance to go 2 for 1 if they choose, but going to half at least down 6. Can't be down more. If Norfolk goes, bucket, or it's an 8 or 10-point game, it gives them a little bit of momentum. And Caldwell needs to get something offensively. Again, they've missed 7 in a row.
Half a minute now. Johnson offered with an awkward shot, but able to drop it in.
Looks like that's his game. Just put it in the basket. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And that's a big bucket there. Now, if you get the stop, you're down 4. You feel good about yourself going into the break.
Shot clock turned off. Quarter of a minute to go. Johnson offered with 7 points to lead the way for the Cougars. Wide open look for Jenkins. Tipped around. Just enough time to reset. Stripped. Great defense by Caldwell. They maybe didn't get the extra basket that they would have liked, but a nice finish at one end and a great defensive series to close it out.
It was a great job by the Cougars, Matt. They get the bucket, and then they get the stop, and they go into halftime only down 28-24.
Halftime of the Fort Myers Classic, where Norfolk State leading Division II Caldwell by a score of 28-24 with Eddie Occhipinti. I'm Matt Harmon. We've got Game 2 coming up for you a little later on. Radford and Monmouth to start at 7:30. Preseason poll in the CACC picked behind Dominican and Bloomfield. Caldwell, Eddie, number 3, so that means the other coaches in the league certainly feel like they will be a team to challenge.
And after what we saw in the first 20 minutes, I would tend to agree. They've got a very good front court, athletic, and good guards. I'll tell you, Dominican's a great, Matt, start to this season for them, 6-0 overall. But also, how about Post picked 5th? They're 4-0 right now in the early going.
I think these games, these Division I type games for Caldwell, you hope, at least for them, help them down the line. St. Peter's in the exhibition. This game against Norfolk State, maybe that transitions into wins later on. On the flip side, in the MEAC, Norfolk, the defending league champion, picked behind North Carolina Central and Bethune-Cookman. You can see there the difference, Bethune-Cookman getting the 8 first-place votes, NC Central getting the 7.
But what did we say earlier? That the MEAC has a lot of parity, and no different with 5 different teams getting first-place votes. And oh, by the way, that Howard team had a really good end of the season last year. I know they've had some attrition with players leaving the program, but I wouldn't be shocked if anyone Howard and below made a run in the MEAC tournament with how that league has been.
Yeah, and the one thing that's interesting, I mean, I don't think many leagues have 5 teams get first-place votes.
No, it's a deep league. It's a league that gets transfers in. You've mentioned it. Norfolk State has its fair share of transfers that are still working their way into the system in the rotation.
28-24 our score. Spartans lead by 28-24, the Spartans of Norfolk State leading the Cougars of Caldwell. Matt Harmon, Eddie Acapinti, good to be back with you here. Game 1 of a doubleheader night here from West Long Branch, New Jersey. Monmouth and Radford coming up around 7:30. Eddie, look at some of the numbers. I think you and I have both been impressed by the fact that Caldwell has been able to kind of hang around in this game and bang down inside.
Well, here's what they haven't done, and they're only down 4. They've gotten 0 points from their leading scorer, Anthony Cooper. They've gotten 2 from their second leading scorer, Lutterman. They have not made a 3. Add all that together, and they're only down 4. I would sign for that absolutely if I was Mark Carino after one half of play.
Both teams have combined for 23 turnovers so far on the night. Still probably going through that first few games of working out some of the kinks, but all the other numbers somewhat balanced except for Caldwell, who has been cold from the outside. To be fair, they have only taken 3 threes on the night, so that 0% maybe a shade misleading.
No, but they're getting to the free throw line, and that's been impressive. They made 12 of 16 free throws, and Norfolk State only made 6 of 7, so the Cougars not afraid to get inside.
Take a peek at some of the highlights of that first half. Johnson offered 7 points to lead the way. A couple of players with 5 for the Spartans, but again, the theme, Eddie, I think has been for Caldwell, let's just make the second half a game, and they've been able to do that.
100%. They've been competitive. They've been not afraid to, as you said earlier, be physical down low. Norfolk State did knock down a couple from beyond the arc. Both teams hitting free throws well, but if Caldwell can hang on and play well inside, keep this a game close.
Getting set for the start of half number 2, really half number 2 of what we will see of 4 tonight, as it's part of a doubleheader. 1 half down, Norfolk State leading Caldwell 28-24. Little mini round robin set up tonight here in West Long Branch, the home of the Monmouth Hawks, who take on Radford later on. It will be the Spartans who will try and pick up win number 4 on the season. They come into this one at 3-3, and I think probably you'd have to think at least, Eddie, the theme for Robert Jones in that halftime intermission is let's clean it up a little bit. Let's be a little sharper. Let's be a little more crisp with what it is we want to do.
Both teams committed over 10 turnovers, but I would agree. Norfolk State shot 37%. They ended up at the end of that half out rebounding Caldwell, but we've seen a lot of possessions where they've settled for maybe contested threes, long twos, but when Norfolk State has gotten into their stuff and they've executed, it's looked great, and they've been able to get good shots going towards the basket. They had the one backdoor cut, but don't rely on your guys to be shot makers as much as work together, work the ball. They did have great spacing. Now it's a matter of turning that into points.
7 points for Johnson Alford. He leads the way for Caldwell. 7 points for Kashawn Hicks off the bench. He's the high man for this Norfolk State team. It will be Caldwell basketball. Again, if you're just joining us, the Cougars are in the all-red tonight and the all-yellow, the Spartans. Can, in the first couple of minutes of the half, Caldwell get number 1, Anthony Cooper, involved. They'll try it down low. Ogamessam able to keep it alive before it goes out over the sideline. Here's Covington. Shot clock winding down. Big 3 on the line from A.J. Kittles, who we saw start the game, Eddie, but didn't really play a ton of minutes in that first half.
He had a three-point play to begin the game, and now he hits their first three-pointer. So he's been great the first minute of each half. Want to see more from him. He's been impressive and brought good energy.
Had 2 fouls that he picked up in the first half. Reason why he only played the 9 minutes. Step-in jumper to answer back for Sidibe. Covington, Cooper, Ogamessum, Johnson, Alford, and Kittles, the original starting 5 back on the floor for Caldwell. They'll say that was deflected to negate a possible backcourt violation. Cooper can't find it so far tonight. He misses his second shot. Ford bobbled it on his way up. One back here by Bryant.
If Cooper's going to get open looks like that, that's a great sign for Caldwell. But he's been cold, and it's probably due to he hasn't really gotten into the flow of the game yet.
Bishop short. He's been cold tonight as well. Ogamessum's 3. Rattling around, shooter's bounce. They'll call that a long 2 to cut the lead to 1, and an early timeout for Robert Jones. And to our point, he would have to just not be pleased with the energy that his team has come out with.
Well, Caldwell's been the side that has answered with more energy. And they have, to this point, Matt, played with a bit more rhythm in that second half. A couple of jumpers from the outside. Cougars make it a 1-point game.
Caldwell against Division I schools. You see they still got one more coming up, and what they have done in their program history as of late. That's a pretty good list right there, partner. Notre Dame, DePaul. They've already seen this Monmouth team as an exhibition back in October of 2018. They're not afraid to get after it a little bit.
No, I like the aggressive scheduling by Coach Carino. And, they're going to Rutgers. They're going to the State University, who plays in the Big Ten. You saw they played Monmouth really close a couple of seasons ago.
I guess the good thing is that when you've been here as long as Mark Carino and you double as the athletic director, you can probably open some more doors with your phone call.
Yeah.
It's the head basketball coach. Oh, and then, by the way, I'm the AD. We'd love to come play you guys.
I'm sure he switches that. He probably opens the conversation with, hey, athletic director, Caldwell University. Oh, by the way, I'm also leading the team when I come in. But that's a great job, and it's great when New Jersey schools will do that. So credit to Monmouth, credit to St. Peter's, credit to Rutgers.
Especially as we've already talked about, all you have to do is look at the roster for Caldwell, and it is littered with players from right here in the Garden State.
And why not, right? There's so much really good high school basketball in the state that there's enough talent here in New Jersey to put players on the Division I and Division II and Division III rosters, and also go all over the country. So it is a place where every coach in the country, Matt's familiar with recruiting because they all come here.
Cooper gives up the shot. Covington's corner 3, no good. But the foul on the three-pointer, that's the second time tonight that Norfolk State has done that.
And it comes after what was excellent ball movement. All 5 Cougars getting a touch at the ball, and the really good pass that keyed the whole thing was the Johnson-Alford diagonal pass at the elbow to Cooper, and then he just had to go one more into the corner to Covington. His first free throw will tie it, and I would say to this point in the game, if you're just looking at what we've seen transpire over the first 23 minutes, with how hard they've played and everything else against them, give the edge right now to Caldwell with what they've been able to do here this evening.
Don't disagree with that at all. Cougars have not led since a 5-4 advantage, just about 2 minutes in to the first half. They've got one more chance here as Covington so far 1 of 2 from the line. And that is good.
And all this is happening while Caldwell has only gotten 2 points from the duo of Cooper and Lutterman. They combine for 28 a game.
Bishop on that left side. Quick little penetration down the lane. He's also a guy who has been extremely cold on the night as the team's leading scorer. He is 1 of 6 from the floor. Wide open look, Covington, and a 4-point advantage for Caldwell.
Covington not afraid to stick the big shot, left all alone.
Bishop's shot is blocked by Johnson Alford. As an oh, by the way, we've been talking about the doubleheader. Take another look at it, and I'll finish the thought in a second.
And that new 3-point line, which is even deeper, Covington was a good foot behind that line. A way downtown triple.
To finish the point, we've mentioned a doubleheader tonight. There is a game tomorrow night with Monmouth taking on this Norfolk State team. That one at 7 o'clock. And after you digest on Thursday into Friday, if you're not doing anything and you want to come by and see a historic event, the first ever FCS playoff game hosted here at Monmouth, as the Hawks, who won the Big South Championship, will play host to the winners of the Patriot League, that being Holy Cross.
Saturday, 12 noon. You mentioned how it's never happened here before. Monmouth 16-1 all time in the new Kessler Stadium. Tickets available right now by visiting monmouthhawks.com/tickets to ensure your spot.
That hit the rim before it came down. Johnson Alford with that high arcing 3.
Couple of triples in a row here. How about 3 out of 4 from beyond the arc? All told in the first 4 and change in the second.
It didn't hit a 3-pointer at all in that first half. Right now, Caldwell starting to feel it from the outside.
Well, first it was Covington from beyond the arc, then Johnson Alford. If you're going to leave me alone, I'm going to take a big shot. Cougars up 5.
Upcoming schedule for the Cougars of Caldwell. They'll start to dig into some league games. They've got schools like Nyack, Post, Bloomfield, Stonehill. And then, as we talked about, they'll go to the State University and square off against Rutgers. On the Norfolk side of things for Robert Jones, they'll play Monmouth tomorrow. They'll continue in that MAC theme and have a home game with Niagara, and then a little bit of an interesting 3-game road trip mid-December, Southern Illinois, Hampton, and Loyola Chicago.
Always want to challenge your team, and you see with Caldwell playing up against Rutgers and that Norfolk State schedule, those are good mid-major teams they have in front of them, including the start of
inside that one, just nicking the rim.
Yeah, that Hampton game, Matt, no longer a MEAC game. All right, that's a MEAC versus Big South opponent with the Pirates playing in the Big South now.
Cooper still trying to get on track. He is fouled. He is 0 of 2 from the field tonight. Both shots have come from 3-point range. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a turnover. Probably not the score line that Mark Carino would have wanted for his top gun.
Kittles being a bit too aggressive is going to be whistled for the offensive foul. He was coming towards the ball, and you'll see Bryant just kind of held his ground. Kittles just ran into him.
Five minutes into our second half. Caldwell by 5. That is their biggest lead of the night. And an emphatic take to the rim by Stephen Whitley. My goodness.
Well, that might be Whitley's way of trying to wake his teammates up. Oh, goodness. You're not going to get in front of him if that's going to be the end result. See if that does wake up the Spartans on this end of the floor.
Certainly trying to change the energy a little bit. Cooper. Ogamessum driving, a little out of control. Kept alive inside by Dorme.
That was a big-time offensive rebound, a big answer to that huge dunk by Whitley.
There are always that debate, right? Do you like flash or do you like power? I am a huge fan of just those take to the rim power dunks. There's Bishop, short off the glass.
Well, Whitley looked like a linebacker throwing that down, didn't he?
Still a 5-point game. Dorme. Cut off inside. Cougars want to reset. Under 10 on the shot clock. Cooper the drive, the floater. So far, not his night. That drive, same guy, different finish. Whitley, the N1. Stephen Whitley's just changed the game completely from an energy standpoint here in the last couple of possessions.
Well, he has. He's been going aggressively to the left hand. The one dunk this time now an opportunity for a three-point play. So think twice before you get in front of the 6'3" redshirt senior.
Free throw missed. It's a 3-point advantage by Caldwell. Cut off baseline was Kittles. Foul that should be on the floor. Joe Bryant was his third, team's third.
It was Whitley that really ignited the intensity for this Norfolk team, but Caldwell still hanging around and doing so with a 3-point lead and the ball.
Kittles this time the catch, the shoot, and he gets fouled.
I've seen more jump shooters fouled, seems, in this game than we have in quite a while. You know, and then on that one, contested 2, you did the hard part. You got the challenge of the shot, but you just hold your ground. When you take that extra step in is when it looks like a foul, and more times than not it is.
You're starting to see a little frustration on the face of Robert Jones, the 7th-year head coach here for the Spartans, coming into tonight 112-99 overall. Win so far on the season over Greensboro College, Penn State, Wilkes-Barre, and the Apprentice School. Losses at Ole Miss, at Bradley, and at Northwestern. (41-36). Chavez down low for Whitley, who's got the hot hand. Kick out. Missed jumper by Sidibe.
Great pass.
Great block by Sidibe. Was going to be a dunk from Dorme.
Good basketball end to end there. You said it, the good look and the better defensive play.
The jump hook, soft. And good finish by Euro Sidibe.
Now, the previous time down floor, he didn't look comfortable. That one he did. That was a confident move. Give it a chance, get it on the rim, and did just that.
4 points for Sidibe. Johnson inside. Ball taken away by Whitley. 3 on the way. He wanted the foul. Kept alive Sidibe. His finish no good. And then we will have a foul along the baseline. We've had good end-to-end action both directions for these teams.
Well, it started with defense, but the huge dunk from Whitley ignited the whole team. Then it was the defense on the other end.
41-38, Caldwell. The Cougars out of Division II and Norfolk State out of the MEAC. Probably been a little more difficult of a game than what they would have signed up for, but this Caldwell team trying to make an impression here. The first of a doubleheader. Matt Harmon, Eddie Acapinti on the ESPN call tonight. Thanks for joining us. Tuesday, 2 days before the holiday. Partner, what's your Thanksgiving Day plan?
Well, Matt, it's a nice move down low. Whitley starting to really turn it on. I'm heading down to Cape May. Heading down to one of the favorite stops, little Congress Hall dinner on my, yeah, that's right, on my schedule. How about you? Local or traveling?
I'll be home. I'll be home. I'm not as upscale as Cape May.
I'm only going for the peanut butter the next day. You know
We'll
that.
talk about perhaps as Johnson for the 3 outside. Maybe I can sneak in some holiday overtime pay for these 2 games tonight.
Come down?
Be able to maybe eat a turkey leg.
I'll pick you up some of that cappuccino peanut butter down at our favorite stop.
Listen, if you are going to be down there, I will put an order in without question.
It's the best.
Four-point advantage here for the Cougars. We come up on the midpoint of the second half. Good jumper open from the outside. Chavez.
There's good offense there. When Norfolk State's gotten into their stuff and they've moved the basketball, it's looked good. But here's what else has happened here in the second half. Caldwell is 4 out of 5 from three-point range, and they have a 2-point lead, and they clearly have shown they're not going anywhere.
Zone look here for the Spartans for one of the rare times tonight. 3 just rimming out from Johnson. Whitley, the run down the lane. Right now, there is no stopping Stephen Whitley, who's got a dozen.
He's the first Spartan in double figures. If you're going to let him get to his strong side left, he's going to score. He is a freight train running downhill to that left hand.
6'3", 215. I'd like to check the scale that said 215. He's a big, big boy.
I'd also like to get him in pads and a helmet.
Offline and kept alive, but last touched, I believe, by the Spartans.
And Whitley, with his slashing ability, has really woken things up for Norfolk State. He has been a one-man wrecking crew here in the second.
Would have been a shot clock violation, but Norfolk able to come away with it anyway. Spartans will take the lead with a bucket. Foul up top on Cooper as he tried to reach around Jenkins.
That's significant. So now Norfolk State shooting free throws the rest of the game, and they've only committed 14 fouls of their own. That's been their game. They've wanted to get towards the rim. They've wanted to be aggressive, and they have been here in the second half.
Jenkins short on the front end.
And got to take advantage in a close game. Can't miss front ends.
On the drive, good finish at the rim by Ogamessum.
And no help defense, no one on the backside of that. And that's just a straight line drive from Ogun-Yesem.
Caldwell by 2. Jump stop in the lane, Carter. Wide open, Jenkins. Didn't hit anything. Very impressed with the overall intensity this Caldwell team has brought into this game.
Been impressive. They've executed. They've held their own on the glass, out-rebounding Norfolk. And now the threes are starting to come as well.
Ogamessum on the drive. Dorme. 3 on the shot clock. Johnson saw it. Hit the rim, but the long board kicks out.
Yeah, he did a good job just to get it up on the rim. Now, see if Norfolk can tie or potentially take the lead.
Whitley, who's had the touch, can't get that one to go. Cooper will finally get himself on the scoreboard.
Haven't seen a lot of fast breaks in this game. There hasn't been a lot of transition. But Cooper that time realized he was ahead of the pack, and a tremendous job recognizing that, throwing it down.
Good assist by Johnson, offered the old-fashioned outlet pass. 4-point advantage. Sidibe can't get the layup. Cougars have numbers. Cooper, Johnson, Alford. Shots like that, the ones you need to make if you want to pull a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, and I think Whitley got the poor end of potentially an elbow, or he's shaking it off, got poked in the eye, and that probably will be the break that gets us to media. But the big thing here in the second half has been the intensity of both of these teams. We have seen Caldwell really make an account of itself, but Whitley trying to keep the Spartans in it.
6:40 to go in the second half. Caldwell 48, Norfolk State 44. Matt Orman, Eddie Occupancy, the first of 2 that we've got coming for you. And I'll tell you what, if the second game, Eddie, is as fun as this one's been, we'd be treated to some pretty good basketball on the night.
I would agree. You know, you come into a game like this and you're not sure what to expect. And what we've seen is a Caldwell team that is not afraid of the moment. They're not afraid to play Division I schools. They're trying to knock off the first one in program history. And a Norfolk team that is very good, very athletic. And how about the finish there? They need more of that from Carter.
Devontae Carter, the strong take to the rim. That's exactly what they do need. I agree. Be a little bit more aggressive going to the basket.
And Carter had good moments earlier in this game as well. Remember, he came in the first half and knocked down a 3.
Carter 2 of 2 from the line so far tonight. Make it 3 of 3, and we've got ourselves a 1-point game. Full court pressure by the Spartans.
Caldwell's got to get it over. They got it over with 9 on the clock.
Inside, Johnson Alford. Trying to keep it alive. Loose ball. Grabbed here. Cougars have numbers. Elbow jumper by Covington is good.
So smooth. 13 points now for Covington.
Johnson Alford, the only other player for Caldwell in double figures. He has 10. Backdoor cut. Hanging on the rim for a second there. Bishop, who's been quiet. That's just his second made bucket of the night.
That's what Norfolk has done in this game. They have double the number of points in the paint than Caldwell.
Wide open. Dorme waited for the contact, which did come. It shook everything as part of the backboard and shot clock.
Well, you can press full, and I like that, trying to up the tempo in this game, but you got to have someone back and be communicating as well.
First free throw by Dorme is good. He's now 3 of 3 from the line tonight. Norfolk to tie with a 2, take the lead with a 3. Chavez curling around. Extra pass, Bishop. Couldn't get it, and we've got a loose ball foul inside.
There was a big collision under the rim between Bryant and Ogameson. And that was one of the few times in this game that Norfolk looked like it ran that offense at full speed the whole way through, and they got the open look they wanted. There's multiple reads to that set. But Bryant's he's gonna stay in. He looked like he took kind of the worst end of that collision, but he's tough. He's gonna stay in the game.
Checking in, Marcellus Ross, the freshman, saw a couple of minutes in that first half. First entry here into the second comes in at a very key time. Covington, the stutter move all the way from right to left. Jumper from Ross, offline. Another chance for a tie lead situation. Good spin into the lane by Hicks, who gets fouled.
Good patience by Hicks, right? Wanted to take the 3 initially, and then when they closed out on him, went to the rim, but did so under control. So he'll have free throws coming up as Norfolk trails by 2. And Hicks on the season, pretty good free throw shooter.
Tied here at 51. Long throw ahead, Johnson Alford able to save it to Dorme.
That was great hustle from Johnson Alford. How about the over-the-head flip to a teammate?
Foul on the backside from Chavez. I tell you, as both of these teams, the number at halftime was 23 combined turnovers. It was 12-11. Right now in this second half at this stage, the two teams have combined for only 5.
There's been better rhythm to the second half, right? There's been better flow to the game. Both teams have executed much better. I've been very impressed with Covington. His composure, his ability to get to the line. And we talked a lot about Cooper coming in. Covington came into play just averaging 8 a game, but I think, man, he's been the best player on the court, him and Whitley, here this evening.
Couple of free throws. Covington, a guy who started a good chunk of last season, averaged just about 10 a game. Caldwell with that 2-point advantage, they will be able to build on it here.
Now you believe a little bit. You get a 2-point lead inside of crunch time. Now just execute. Go pull the upset.
Certainly is there for him. Extra pass, Ross, the triple from the corner. Just offline for the freshman. We've got a travel called as Norfolk driving. We will take a timeout. 3:28 remaining. The Cougars close to an upset. They lead it by 2. (53-51). Caldwell, the advantage. We are certainly in to the late stages here of this second half. Caldwell 53, Norfolk State 51.
If you're Norfolk State, you got to dig in here. Got to get a stop, preferably without fouling, because Caldwell's in the 1-1. And here we are, though, Matt, in crunch time. Been impressed with the way the Cougars have played. Been really impressed with Covington, who's on the ball now.
A lot of dribbling for Covington with not a whole lot of space to go. Baseline jumper. That is a smooth shot from the senior out of Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Well, that was a whole possession of Covington. He brought it across the timeline. Didn't, for outside of a couple of seconds, give it up. And then a contested fadeaway 2 in front of his own bench to put Caldwell up 4. That was a huge shot. He's got 17 in this game.
Whitley posting up inside is Bryant. Missed the shot. Bishop diving into his bench, can't keep it alive.
There's good defense that possession. And then how about this one? The one dribble pull up, 2 guys in front of him, and Covington so smooth for now 17 points. And then they get the stop on the other end. Caldwell starting to feel it now with 2.5 to go. You win games like this, and many Division I teams aren't going to schedule you.
Yeah, now that phone call that we talked about earlier, it's going right to voicemail.
Right to voicemail with no callback. I believe the kids call that being ghosted.
Cougars lead by 4. Chance to build on it here. Shot clock to 1. That one just got up in the air by Covington. In transition, it's Hicks losing the handle on the dribble. Turnover at the worst time for the Spartans.
And they've been so good taking care of the ball this half, but Hicks was going too fast. It was a bit casual with it. You know, this juncture of the game, you've got to know for sure you want to go, and you want to go to the basket. You know, now Caldwell is going to get it back. They could take another 30 seconds off. I think Mark Carino just signaled that he wants to take a timeout. Well, maybe not.
I think if I'm Mark Carino, you haven't really used a timeout at all tonight, I would just let it go.
I don't think
you guys seem pretty comfortable.
There's been one coach call timeout all game up to this point. Get a bucket here if you're Caldwell and you really put the pressure on Norfolk.
Drive by Johnson-Alford, stripped by Bryant. Carter in transition. Spartans need a bucket. Blocked there by Dormay. And then a foul coming down inside.
It was good initial defense. And then, like you mentioned, that second try, Dormay, was a bit too much. It's his 4th foul. I actually think that, Matt, you know, it's been a really well officiated game. Don't you feel that way? Got a veteran crew out there too for a game like this and a non-conference tournament. I think they've done a really good job.
I would agree. Nothing changes at the free throw line. as Carter misses both.
It's a huge possession here in this game.
75 seconds remaining, 76, as they don't let that one more run off. And a foul coming here to the line for a 1-and-1 would, to me, be the best player. I thought Covington was going to step up there for a second. Ogamessem will be the guy who will shoot the free throws.
That Covington was going to pull that old school move.
He looked like he was walking right in there.
The way he's been shooting it, I wouldn't blame him.
He has been the best guy on the floor tonight. 17 points, 4 of 7, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. That's a big first make.
Well, this next one make it a huge 6-point game with 1:16 to go. Norfolk hasn't hit a 3 here in the second half as well.
1 of 2. Outside Bishop, his 3 is short. Big rebound by Johnson Alford, but he could not secure it.
That's Carter being aggressive down low and good hustle. Johnson Alford's done a lot right in this game. You've got to grab that ball and you have to be strong with it. You can't allow a guard to dig out and make that play. That is a massive play in this game because Caldwell was going to come back the other way. Up 5, chance to run, 30 seconds off the clock, and now Norfolk State gets another possession. See right here, Johnson Alford. You have to be strong with the ball. You've got to get that up near the chin and ward off any guards legally without throwing your elbows.
He was looking for a foul, saying he was hit a little bit, and he may have had an argument, but you've got to know that someone's going to be trying to poke that ball away from you.
Or you get it, and let's say you're in a tough spot, you just call timeout.
Well, I was going to say, our game story here has been, with 65 seconds left, we may have a ton of timeouts because no one's really used them all during the course of the game.
Yeah, they really haven't. There was the one timeout early in the second half. And right here, and it's also on Johnson Alford's teammates to let him know. If you've got a guard that's kind of lingering behind you, lurking behind you, if you will, someone's got to yell, behind, behind, behind. So you are aware. He had no idea that Carter was there. He did the hard part. He did the boxing out of Chavez. So he doesn't know someone's behind him. That was a big, big play because now if Norfolk State gets a score, they can play straight up defense. They don't have to worry about fouling.
56-51. Norfolk State basketball. Looking ahead, if the Spartans have to foul, they've got one more. That would be a 1-and-1 situation for Caldwell. Here's the drive by Carter, and a foul called inside.
I'll tell you what, it sure looked like a foul. Let's see it again. Carter's going to go to the rim. Johnson Alford's on his hip, and yeah, it's a foul. I'll say it again. I think this game has been very fairly officiated. I think it's been pretty right down the middle. Whistles haven't gone one way or the other. This crew has done a nice job here of just reffing a college basketball game. They haven't reffed a D2 versus D1 team. They've reffed a college basketball game. And that was a foul because Johnson Alford swatted down and got him on the off arm.
Carter has missed his last 3 at the free throw line. Make it his last 4. Loose ball kept alive by Whitley. I'd like to see some quicker hands on the bench, the media area here. The ball skipped over some of those to your right.
It did. You know what that is? That's not being ready to make a play.
No, that's thinking about what am I going to be eating for dinner on Thursday?
That's actually what I was thinking of.
What else is going on? What do we think about the next game?
Checking out the FCS playoffs this Saturday. A little bit of everything.
Got to be active, though. 56-51. It seems like Norfolk State has had every chance in these last couple of possessions to get right back into it. That is a tough call. Bishop, who had lost the ball and then ran over a Caldwell player. That's a rough decision.
That whole thing was bad. There was nothing good about this. So Bishop loses the ball, but he is out of control. So there's a lot to digest there. Bishop doesn't have the ball, but he is out of control. Ogamesson's trying to draw a charge on a guy who doesn't have the ball.
And he looked like he had pretty good position.
He did, but he was sliding again. That's twice in this game where he ran from the weak side and didn't get in front of the player enough. But I'll tell you, the story here down the stretch is how poorly Norfolk State is shooting free throws. What is that, 4 in a row they've missed? They're now 5 for 12 in the second half shooting free throws. You know, if they lose this game and look back, that is going to be something that angers Robert Jones.
Another chance here from Bishop. Makes that one. It's a 4-point game. Wide open is Johnson Alford. He will go to the rim. Count it! And one. Nobody tracked the long run from Eric Johnson Alford. He not only caught it, put it on the deck, and a strong finish.
Well, credit the touchdown pass. It was Covington that made it. And credit Johnson Alford, the catch and the finish. You know, that's a tough spot as the recovery defender, because if you just hammer Johnson Alford and he goes flying into the stands, it's going to be an intentional foul.
Make it a 7-point game for Caldwell. 3-possession game. Bishop driving. Good rebound. Johnson Alford. Well, the Caldwell bench, I think the moment's starting to settle in on them a little bit. They've been pretty reserved on that sideline, but now with 35.7 remaining, you're on the verge of doing something that not many D2, D3 schools do when they play up. Let's get a win.
Well, they've earned it, right? They have played. They've just played better. They've executed in the second half, shooting almost 50%. I'll tell you what, Covington has been great. There's a lot of teams in this country that he could play for with the way he's played this evening. And your head coach and athletic director, Mark Carino, has a lot to be happy about with how his team played tonight. If they play like this in the CACC, they are going to have a great chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
Covington, to me, Eddie, is a guy you said playing it anywhere, and I think you're referring to taking a Roman numeral away. He's got the look of a Division I guard.
He does. He has been the best player on the floor this evening against a MEAC team that's a good team that got first place votes. And Vaughn Covington has 19 points, 3 assists, 1 turnover in 34 minutes. He has been the best player in this game.
Chavez will go to the line. Be a quick turnaround for Norfolk State, who will play Monmouth tomorrow. That game at 7 o'clock. You can watch it here on our ESPN family of networks.
I'm never sure how to refer to the 3+ combination, right? I think I tried to get away with this one to call them the family of digital networks. I didn't get emailed back after that one.
Nobody wanted to talk to you?
They're like, oh, that's good. Good for you.
61-54. Caldwell the advantage. A timeout coming here with 28.7. All you got to do right now if you're Caldwell is make a couple of free throws.
And they've done it. Matt, look at this disparity. Caldwell in the second half is 11 of 14 from the line. For the game, they're 23 for 30. Norfolk in the second half is 8 of 15 and 14 out of 22. So while one has missed 7 and one have missed 8, look at the numbers. It's +9 for Caldwell in the free throw department, and they have a 7-point lead. That with what they shot in the second half, they made 4 threes. They shot almost 50%. Covington has been the best player on the floor in the game, but Johnson Alford's got 13 and 9 as well. Dorme has 7 and 7. Seven-point lead. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you could have enough superlatives to say about Caldwell. I wasn't sure, Matt, what to expect coming into this game, but here's what I do know. I was really impressed with Whitley. Bishop never got it going, just 2 for 12. And Carter had a good game. Norfolk's very good, very athletic. Bryant's a specimen. But Caldwell just made more basketball plays when they needed to. They shot better. They made their free throws. And right now, Covington's the best player on the court, and that's the reason that they're going to win this game.
And I think the biggest thing, and we talked about it all during the first 20 minutes, was they hung in. They didn't give an inch in that first half, almost making that kind of statement like, we're good. We'll play with you all night.
Well, if you remember, Norfolk at 22-all goes on a 6-0 run. And late in the first half, they're up 28-22. And with about 48 seconds left, you and I were saying, hey, if they go and get a couple more buckets, they're up 10-12 at halftime. This game could be over now. And what happened? Caldwell got a score. They got to stop, and they went into halftime down 4. And that was huge in this game. That was 28-24 going into the half. And then they came out, shot 48%, made 4 threes. All credit goes to Caldwell in this game and their ability to execute here in the second half.
Last time that Norfolk had a lead in this game tonight was at 30-29. Bryant off track. 15 seconds remaining, and that will go over the top of the backboard. That lead came with 17:55 remaining in this second half.
And all this, and Cooper and Lutterman, their 2 leading scorers who combined for 28 a game, have scored 4 points.
A little bit of a coming out party tonight, you would think, for Vaughn Covington. It's a senior who's played a lot of basketball for this Caldwell team.
He was struggling, Matt, this season coming in. He was shooting 20% from the floor coming into play this evening, only 8 points a game. The way he played tonight, I would take Vaughn Covington on my team in a lot of D1 mid-major leagues, without a doubt. The way he performed.
Season high last year was 24 against Bloomfield in early December. Eddie, I agree. I've been very impressed with the 6'1" guard.
I'm going to ask Mark Carino that postgame because he really made the difference in this game. All credit to Caldwell and what they were able to do here this evening.
Steal. It's Covington again. He will dribble it, elect to keep it, and the Cougars come to West Long Branch, the short trip from North Jersey down here, and pull a Division II over Division I upset. Final score, 64-54. A 10-point win as Caldwell goes to 3-4 on the year. Well, .4 they have to put back up on the clock. And now it is official. Norfolk State falling to 3-4, and this will certainly be a disappointing loss for Robert Jones and the Spartans. But just an unbelievable performance tonight from Caldwell. Covington with 20, Johnson Alford with 15. How about this Cougar performance tonight? You see some of the numbers. Whitley led the way. He had 12, the only player in double figures tonight for Norfolk State. Devontae Carter had 8. Some cold shooting down the stretch really hurt Norfolk's case, and the Spartans will have to regroup and try and put it back together. Let's send it over to Eddie Acapinti. He is standing by with Mark Carino.
Well, Matt, we were singing the praises of the Caldwell Cougars all broadcast, but Coach Carino looks like he kind of expected this was going to be the result. Coach, what a performance by your group in this game. What does this win mean to your team and to this university?
Well, in all honesty, we've been struggling lately, and we're coming in today, and we had one of our big kids has been out, and so he really didn't play. He played a couple of minutes, but kids stepped up. Defensively, I thought we played very, very well. We did a good job on them as far as rebounding. We turned the ball over a little bit in the first half, but once we stopped turning it over, we got some good shots. And I got to be honest with you, I'm very, very proud of what it is that the kids did today, because like I said, we were struggling a little bit, but from our standpoint, it's a great win. It's a great win for our program. So we'll see how we go as we move forward.
Well, you mentioned you get 4 points from your combined leading scorers in Cooper and Lutterman.
Yep.
But how about the game from Vaughn Covington? He was the best player on the floor.
Yes, without any question. He's a senior. He knows the game. He's been a leader for us over the years. And today he really stepped up. I mean, he's when they talk about having a coach on the floor, that's what he is for us. So he did a hell of a job today, I'll tell you, as far as controlling the game and controlling the pressure, handling the pressure, getting us into our offense. Kid's a heck of a player. So, and he made his foul shots. So I'm very, very proud of him as well as all of them.
Well, Coach, congratulations on this win. Best of luck in the CACC.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Matt, we'll send it back to you. That's Mark Carino after his Caldwell Cougars defeat Norfolk State here on Tuesday night.
All right, Eddie, great job. Appreciate Coach Carino coming by and giving us a couple of minutes there. A historic win tonight for his program. For all of us here at West Long Branch, Matt Harmon, Eddie Acapinti, my partner, we say so long. The final score one more time, Caldwell 64, Norfolk State 54. Don't forget, we've got the back end of the doubleheader coming up for you in just a little bit. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live on and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.